we need to have a much better discussion, because there's lots of beautifully healthy children scrambling all over you at the time. Let's talk about what you do in the health world, or did do, or still do, I don't know. Okay, what are you? You're an RN.
I'm an RN. I worked for a pediatrician, and the largest part of my job was giving vaccines. That was the largest part of it.
Now, how long did you work for this pediatrician for?
6 years.
6 years. And so when you went to work there, were you excited to help kids, work with children?
Yeah, it's definitely different for me, though, because my background is OB, obstetrics.
Okay.
So it was different. But yeah, I was excited to venture into helping kids. I just didn't know, I guess, that was such a large part of the job going into it.
And what was the vaccine schedule vaguely? I don't expect you to remember. I don't know how long ago it was that you were working there. What was it like?
2, 4, 6 months, and 9 months, and then a year, and then 15 months, and just keep going from there. By the time they're 2, we slow down a little bit, but we've given a lot of them by the time they're 2.
And did you always just assume, because the doctor told you to do this, that this was just going to be safe?
I questioned whether it was safe, but as far as doing it, because the doctor told me, that was part of my job. So, and people want it. They came there because they wanted it. If I don't give them, if I try to make a stand and don't give them, they'll just go elsewhere and get them. So that wasn't really the platform to stand against it, probably, except I could do it when I'm the only one in the room with the parent and the child. That was a great time to have conversation with parents, because there was nobody else there. But they do get pressure from the physician. Absolutely. I've heard it. I've heard the conversation that the doctor gives the parents many, many times. And there's definitely pressure to get those vaccines.
Did you witness any injury while you were...
Yeah, we witnessed injuries. We had a couple of VAERS reports. They try not to do those. Try not to have to make a report.
Is that because it's time consuming, or because what? What's the problem with people not filling out these things?
I think it doesn't look good. They don't want it to not look good. It's easier to come up to with, if a parent questions if it was a vaccine, it's easier to come up with something else. Oh, they must have a virus that they've gotten since they left here. They must this, they must that. We usually try and put a different cause on it than the vaccine. It's just, you don't want to blame the vaccine.
Now, someone's asking if you could be more specific about the type of injuries that you saw. Was it immediate? Did you see it straight after vaccine? Did they come back? Was it a mixture?
No immediate. Those are easier, obviously, to pinpoint the cause. It's usually a couple of weeks. And some of them are as simple as a lot of inflammation in a limb. They can't use the limb for a period of a few weeks, because we always give vaccines in the thigh for the small children. And we've had them lose use of a limb for a period of time due to inflammation in that limb, and then that subsides and that does get better. We've had them have behavioral changes, and they try to attribute it to many other things other than the vaccine.
Like parents.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so how long ago did you work there? How long have you been out of that for?
I have been out of it for 2 years this month.
And you have a real collection of beautiful grandchildren.
I have 7 going on 8 lovely grandchildren.
I mean, they really are stunning.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, unreal.
We think so.
Yeah, no, you got good stuff going on there. Now, to my knowledge, most of them, if not all of them, are unvaccinated.
None of them are vaxxed. Not a one.
No vitamin K, nothing.
No vitamin K.
No needles.
Stuff. Yeah.
You can really see the difference. Now, as a trained nurse, are you concerned that your grandchildren are going to get sick and die?
No, I'm not. No, I'm very thankful that my kids have chosen that option. I'm very thankful. I would be concerned if it was the other way around. That's when I would be concerned. So no, I am not concerned. A lot of these diseases are some things that I had as a child,
right,
too. So they're, and so I have natural immunity to some of that stuff, whereas kids that are getting vaxxed now don't have a natural immunity.
Have you noticed in all your years of being a nurse and just in life as we get older, have you noticed the increase as you go about your life in children with disabilities and...
Oh, just in the clinic. We see it so much in the clinic. So many kids have asthma, autism, allergies, eczema. The prevalence of that is...
ADHD.
Yeah, tons of ADHD.
So much.
So much. We treat so much... Treat, I suppose, you know. So much of that.
We throw another medication.
Right, we give them another med. But there is so much of that anymore. Just so much. And very few parents question that.
I know, I used to be one of them. And so your daughter sitting next to you,
Mm-hmm.
you also trained, tell me your qualifications and what you did.
I'm a certified medical assistant. We worked in the same clinic for quite some time. It was a family practice and pediatric clinic. So I worked in the family practice side of it, but we still saw a lot of children. But I worked there for 6 years.
I mean, it's not just children, is it? Adults get affected too by vaccines.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you went, when you went into this profession and started your first job and you found out that you were doing vaccines, were you in any way concerned, or did you just trust the medical profession you'd been trained
Initially, it was complete trust. Just didn't question it. It was what we did. And as I got into it more, and just the vaccine schedule when I was in there for just 6 years did nothing but grow. Like the amount of vaccines, oh, well, now you need a booster for this. Well, now we've got Gardasil and they need this. Well, now the boys should get Gardasil. It's just like they're throwing everything at, it's just like, why does this keep growing? And you see all these, you don't realize it until you're in that profession and you see it. There's so many sick people. Like, they look fine, but, there's so many people, kids and adults that are on medications. It's just unreal to me, the number of people that were, oh, she takes this for asthma, she takes that for allergies. My kids take a multivitamin and a probiotic. They don't take any medications for all this other stuff. There's no prescriptions. We don't need a pharmacy. Like, kids that are healthy aren't taking prescription medications so that their allergies and their eczema and their asthma aren't flaring and bothering them. That's not health. It's just, that's not health.
So many of the vaccines that used to be optional have
Are
become
water.
mandatory.
Yeah.
I saw that over the 6 years too, just like she did. They were optional things at first. And then they require one. Like it started off with one varicella was required.
Required for what? Just
That was the schedule.
That was
to
a
be in
standard schedule.
the clinic.
It was a CDC recommendation was 1 at the time.
American Academy of Pediatrics has a set schedule that you're supposed to.
But not mandatory. The CDC have they?
They'll tell you it's. We tell everybody it's mandatory.
So they tell. Okay, I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to be nice for 1 minute, and put myself in a pediatrician's. Pretend I'm a pediatrician, which is making me want to vomit. But pretend I am, and you're the CDC. Are you my God? Are you who I go to and say whatever you say I will do?
Well, for sure, a pediatrician goes to the American Academy of Pediatrics for those standards. Yes.
Yeah.
That's where they get their standards from.
Okay, so they get told that the chickenpox vaccine is mandatory.
Didn't used to be. It used to be voluntary, optional if you wanted it when it first came out. If you wanted
And
it.
now it's a part of the routine
So
schedule.
Then it was 1,
And now
and now it's 2.
So in my head, as a pediatrician, I'm going to get some kind of note from the CDC saying, I'm trying to understand what happens in a clinic.
A drug rep will come in and
Oh, a
explain
drug
to
rep,
you
yeah.
that
Or they
the
get
new CDC
mailers.
recommendation, or they'll get a mailer. But a lot of times a drug rep will come in and well, we're finding that there's stronger immunity if we give another dose here, or whatever. So yeah, I know when the Gardasil first came out, it was 1 shot.
Yeah. Now it's 3, isn't it? 3
And
now.
these doctors, and I'm going to be a bit rude now because this is the way it is. I have a friend who's a drug rep. I have a friend who's a drug rep for a big pharmaceutical company. And it's very hard to be friends with this person because she has no qualifications to do this.
They usually
But she
don't.
looks great. She wears a short skirt. They give her a flashy car. And she has an unlimited budget to take pediatricians out to lunch.
Yep.
So pretend this is my friend and I'm the pediatrician. I am supposed to listen to this so-called no-degree person that works for a pharmaceutical company. Is that it?
They do
And I
update
listen.
them. They do
These
update them on
pediatricians are
stuff.
stupid.
Well, that's not where they get their ultimate come down. I mean, like anything that changes as far as the state law. Like, it's a new state law now for the meningitis to be required to get into 7th grade, and I think you need another one
Required.
in high school now. That's new this year, I believe.
Yeah.
And so we tell them it's required. It is. You cannot get in. No shot, no school.
Yeah, there's signs around like that.
Right. There's signs around like that, and I heard on the radio this morning. Today's the first day of school here, so they're saying that with this new law, with this new meningitis vaccine, some of the kids aren't coming to school with it, so they need it to get in school, which is.
Yeah, no, mainly where doctors get their education on the vaccines is absolutely from the drug reps.
And we know they get incentives.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Huge
I've seen that.
incentives.
I've seen that.
I was in it when I started in the medical profession. There was still they were allowed to hand out like pens and pads and everything with like the either the vaccine or the medication name on it. They're not allowed to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When I was first in it, there was times where they would come in with like tickets to like a concert or a sports event, and they would give those to doctors. I mean, as an incentive, as a bribing method. The first doctor I worked for actually worked for the drug rep companies. She would go to some events and host events and like teach people about this specific medication, trying to
She was a speaker.
promote a brand, and she got paid very, very well for it. So yeah, no, there's a lot of incentive in it, absolutely.
And we get incentives for keeping kids on schedule.
Mm-hmm.
As nurses.
Well, no, not as the nurse.
As the clinic.
The clinic.
From the insurance company, you get
Mm-hmm.
incentive.
The insurance company. From the insurance company, they want you to keep those kids on schedule. So there are incentives that they pay to the clinic.
If you have X percentage of kids on schedule at the end of the year, you'll get this much money.
So money is the core thing here.
It's a business.
It's a business. Yeah.
But over human life. This is what I'm trying. I'm trying to be kind to a pediatrician, understand what on earth would make them
Money.
choose money, because they already get paid a decent salary.
But
A
you got to
pediatrician.
understand, it's what they are taught in medical school.
Yeah.
That's they're
They're taught to
one-sided.
question it.
That they're not to they're taught not
And
to
they're
question.
taught that
I-
anybody
and
who
I-
does question it is a quack.
I do understand that, but then I don't understand when doctors like Suzanne Humphreys, Dr. Fan, Dr. Franz, Dr. Moss, all of these big doctors who had the same training,
Start
they
questioning
know
it.
right from wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why I can't forgive them, because if they are as clever as we're led to believe,
Right.
and they see the injury, they must know they're doing wrong.
I would say they do, but
There's a lot of them though that are like, I worked for a doctor who, she gave her daughter and her son the full Gardasil series. Her
yeah,
kids were
it's funny
completely,
because
like,
the son was our patient. I gave that son the Gardasil when he was 13.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like
The
doctor I worked for.
The doctor she worked
you
for.
gave the Gardasil.
Right, because her children were
Yeah.
seen by the pediatrician I worked for. So they were our patients. And I gave her doctor's children
these doctors-
the shots.
Vaccinate their kids. I don't know.
They should vaccinate their own children.
The thing is, if they acknowledge that the vaccines are causing a problem, there's a lot of money in vaccines. I mean, a lot of money.
Yeah.
The doctors themselves pay over $200 per injection for the Gardasil. At the time when I was in it, it was like $248 for,
It was hugely expensive.
and then we add another $100 on that. So there's $100 profit per Gardasil injection. I mean, there's huge money in it. They love flu season. Flu season's quick,
big money
cheap,
maker.
easy
Yeah.
money. You always ask the patient if they want a flu shot. Always.
Even if we had siblings come in with other children with a sibling.
We'd
Have
go
they all
pull
had their
charts
flu
for the
shot?
entire family.
Yeah, we pull charts for the entire family and get them all.
Give everybody the flu shot because
Mhm.
it's quick, easy money.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. It really is.
Now, when did both of you actually take out an insert? Let's take DTaP, shall we? When did you actually think, I'm actually going to have a look and really go through this and see what it is that I'm actually putting into these people? And this
I'd
is
been there a year before I did that.
Yeah, I'd probably been in the medical profession for a year or two before I did that, before it started to,
And what did you think when you saw what was in a vaccine?
Oh, it's scary when
It's
you
just
read
like,
that, but
you've
we
gotta
don't
be
show it to
kidding
the
me.
parents.
They don't
No.
want to see it.
They-
I mean,
don't
death is
wanna-
on there is on there, is listed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
SIDS.
Mhm.
We've just been talking about that. It is listed.
It's
You can't even
listed.
argue with it. It's listed.
It's listed
As
as
a
a
s-
cost
as
reaction.
a-
Seizures, all that stuff. I mean, there's ones that even autism is listed as a potential side effect.
I think just parents don't think it will happen to their child, though.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't give these inserts to the parents because you'd lose your job. Is that it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You
Well,
don't.
honestly,
It's not for lay people.
I can't think of hardly any parents that would have even looked at it. They didn't look at the CDC little handout that we gave them.
Was that a VIS form?
VIS form? Yeah.
Yeah, we would give
Yeah.
out the VIS forms.
They don't want them. They don't look at them. They don't.
Half the time they leave them in the room when they leave.
More than half the time, in my
Right.
experience, they don't. They just doctor said it was okay and safe, and we need to do it. It's not a choice. So
We got to have
do
it to
it.
get in school. That's
yeah,
amazing
they
to
gotta
me.
have to go to school. How would they go to school? You know, I mean, parents will ask that when they're 2 months old. Well, how would they get in school if they weren't vaccinated? Well, I think we're a little ways from there. I think we could probably figure out, in the
But
next
we really
5
haven't
years.
brainwashed that if they do not have vaccines, they will not go to school. They think that's the only way.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys woke up to it. You have this whole family of beautifully unvaccinated, I mean, literally, seriously healthy kids. I mean, when I'm not exaggerating. It's literally the way
Yeah,
it is.
there's no health issues at all.
There's
Yeah.
none, and they're running around. They're completely on the ball. I mean, it brings me to tears, to be honest with you, to see your family like that, because it's how all our kids should be. To be fair.
Yeah.
How are we going to get through to these parents? What is it? I mean, you guys all come to us. There's misconception that's put out there that we go around spreading propaganda, and all we hear is story after story from people like you guys. How do we help those people before we have another death story to tell? These death stories, I'm doing one every time I do an event, a death story every time, a minimum of. How are we going to stop this death? All we hear is because of people like you two, polio is going to come back and kill someone. When has polio killed anyone in the last?
Yeah. Well,
And yet
you'd have
we're
to go
having
back and look at polio
SIDS.
and, I mean, Dissolving Illusions covers that.
Yeah, dissolving. And of course, dissolving. We got our brilliant doctors. To
Was
cover
it
that.
really polio, or was it the the pesticide that they were getting sprayed with, or was it transverse myelitis? We've just renamed it.
Right. But just for the sake, let's play devil's advocate here, because the trolls will say that's all they can come up with. They
Yeah.
can only come up with polio, herd immunity, Andrew Wakefield. That's it. That's their three things. All right. So, but all we are seeing here on the bus is death,
Yeah.
murdering brains. You've seen it. You guys have just been here today. You've seen it. It's everywhere. The sorrow is huge.
Somehow we've got to get parents to question it before they do it. Don't just blindly do it because the doctor says to do it. Question it. Take some time to really find out
Research.
what you're putting. Research. What are you putting in your child? We got to get parents to question it, and if they still make that decision and that's what they're comfortable with, then at least they've been informed. But so many people, parents, they don't question it. They just do it. So if we can just get them to question it and check it out, and everybody thinks that their child will be fine, and hopefully they are, but it's those parents who are left with a child that has so much behavioral change, or
Is dead.
but before death, they have such changes that they
Lifelong
become
seizures, stuff like
lifelong
that.
seizures, or they totally become, they need total care because they have such an injury that they can't care for themselves and don't grow into adulthood being independent. If you knew those things or questioned those things, nobody wants that for their child, but nobody thinks that'll happen. So if they knew about those things that can happen, would they think differently on it? Question it.
Yeah, we just have to keep spreading awareness. Individuals, you can't rely on you and Dr. Suzanne and Anu to be the only ones spreading the truth. Other people have to spread the truth. They have to put themselves out there, and yeah, people might be offended. People might take issue with it.
Right. Well, I think that
You got to do it.
by all these parents standing up and recording stories in that area, and you guys are going to be part of that. Yes, you are. They've already been speaking to Anu today, haven't you?
Yes, we have.
And they're going to start up their own stories. They can't just keep, because first of all they blamed Andy Wakefield.
Yeah.
And they realise they can't keep doing that because they're going round and round in circles, and we're not buying it. Now they're blaming the bus. It's all the bus's fault. This old black bus is causing so much problems. Nobody cares. You guys are all going to start doing your own stories. They can't stop people from England, New Zealand, Australia, America, around the world doing
If
these
enough
stories.
voices speak up, people will start listening. People will start questioning and researching before they make a choice that can't be undone.
I think more people do question it now than they did 10 years ago, but it's still not enough.
And why do you think that is? Do you think that's because they see injury just around them and not that stupid?
I think that there's just a general idea that I mean, a lot of the stories start with, I just had this gut feeling that it wasn't a good idea or whatever, I think there's enough awareness out there that people know to question it, but people need to be empowered with the knowledge of not only don't do it, but here's what to do to protect your child. Like, health and immunity does not come in a syringe. It comes through a healthy immune system and what to do to build that, stuff like that. I mean, you're not going to find health in a syringe. It's not there.
I find it really sad when you see on Facebook the unvaccinated parents being attacked with, well, your kids, don't bring your kids near me. If I see your kids, I'm going to run. Really nasty stuff. And I don't understand that mentality. Your kids are not carrying any disease whatsoever. They are illness. No. They're not even ill. They're not sick.
No.
The vaccinated kids that come on here, they're sick. They're really sick.
Well, and depending if they're
supposed to be
how recently they were immunized, they're shedding all over my healthy kids. If they've just gotten the MMR or the influenza or the chickenpox, they're shedding all over my healthy children.
Mm-hmm.
My children don't shed. There's nothing to shed.
Right. What's it going to take then? So what is it going to take to get through to these people? Do we need to make cartoons? I'm not even joking now. I'm like, you don't understand Dale, who used figures to show herd immunity. You don't understand Dr. Suzanne. You don't understand Forrest Moradi. All of these people have done really basic videos.
Illustrations.
And you still don't understand.
I think to a degree there's only so much you can make people want to understand. I mean, to a degree people are just
when people know somebody
into trusting their doctor.
If they know somebody with an injury, that gives them reason to check things out sometimes. But if they don't know anybody, they don't necessarily have any reason to question anything. We just need to get the word out to question it.
Well, and I think part of it is too, people go, my kid's healthy. Your kid has asthma and is on medication for that. Your kid has eczema and is on medication for that. Your kid has, acid reflux and they're on medication for that. Your kid has chronic migraines and they call that healthy. That's not healthy. People, for some reason, if your kid's alive and a prescription makes the symptoms somewhat better, then your kid must be healthy. No, kids shouldn't be on prescription medications. There's no need for a child to be on prescription medications. That's not healthy. But I know people who their kids are on stuff like that. And, they're healthy. Your kid literally takes a medication every day to feel and function okay. That's not healthy.
You're right. Now, how many grandchildren have you got?
7. 8's on the way.
7 and a bit. Do you have any autism in those 7 grandchildren?
No.
Do you have any paralysis?
No.
Do you have any allergies?
No.
All right. I don't know very many other grandparents that can say what you're saying in this day and age. The only other grandparents are the ones of the unvaccinated. You show me a grandmother with 7 grandchildren who can say the same thing as you.
Well, the proof's in the just in the unvaccinated versus vaccinated.
You're smart, is what you are. You're really smart, and your kids are smart. You've got 4 beautiful daughters. I mean, I am literally in love with your family. I can't even get enough of it. I even sent Bella photographs. You guys are just amazing family. You really are. And you've got the Vax bus parked in your house. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to do what you're doing.
It's important
to.
But you're doing it for us, and we just thank you so much. Really and truly.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think we're going to cry now, so we're going to have to
go. Should we give out this?
Oh, yes, we are going to do something. Let's change subject far too quickly before we all start bawling. Right, the lovely girl...
Adley Clark.
Do you want to talk about it? You talk about it.
She was on here earlier. Adley Clark, she has seizures. That's her injury from vaccines. And she really needs a seizure dog, and people were asking where they could donate money. And so we are working with getting Iowa, or Informed Consent Iowa is going to be, we're working on a Facebook page and a website. So that's not up yet, but for now we do have an email that you can send gift PayPal money to, and it will go in a fund towards them to get them that seizure dog. So.
And it's incredibly important that we work together to get this seizure dog however we can, because I do have pictures of Elias Tembenis, as you all know, and other children as well, and Lauren, as well, who died from a seizure, and I just wonder if a seizure
Yeah.
dog, because the mother was explaining how these seizure dogs they know that a seizure's coming, and they lift the child or baby's head underneath so they don't fall, and
Yeah.
it's
She was in the
very
hospital last month because they thought she'd broken her nose when she fell and had a seizure. So here's the email address.
Do you want to read it out to them?
It's Shanda, ICA, Iowa, at gmail.com. That's SHANDA, ICIA, at gmail.com.
And we will post. Let me just show each.
Any money coming into that account will go straight to the fund
dog.
for her seizure dog.
It's completely just done. We already had
100%
some
of it.
money in already for this dog.
So if you
And-
PayPal gift money to that.
And if anybody is wondering what to do with their career, could you please start training seizure dogs? Because sadly, sign of the times, we are going to need a lot more seizure dogs in this world. So they're extremely expensive. They're between $5,000 and $10,000, and that's too much. And we must help this beautiful girl, because I do not want to be pinning her picture to the board.
Yeah.
And that is a reality with children with seizures. So please, if you can, and I know so many of you can't, or you know somebody who might be able to help, or you know someone that even trains seizure dogs, please get in contact. We try and save this girl. All right, you two are amazing, truly amazing, and I'm so proud of everything you're doing here in this area, and it's just wonderful. And what a lovely day we're having with no interruption.
It is.
Gosh, it's just like peace and harmony.
Because it's been a lovely day.
So well organised. Really appreciate it. And okay, we have more stories. We have about 4 more stories.
4 or 5.
4 or 5 more stories this afternoon. So if you're up for your hearts, they mean so much to everybody. They do go and watch these stories back. And we love you guys. Thank you. Okay, we'll be back soon. 1 second. And